Greetings, Commanders! You're listening to a special recording here on Kerrash Landing. Joining me now is Frontier Development's Community Manager, Ed Lewis. How you doing, sir?
Hello there. Yes, I'm very well, thank you. And thank you so much for inviting me on. It is always a pleasure to talk to you.
Oh, no problem at all. No, like I said, it's fantastic to have you here, and I know you guys are all incredibly busy at Frontier. They're preparing for the release of 1.3, that PowerPlay update. Oh, so exciting. So thank you very much.
Or PowerPlay, as we call it.
PowerPlay.
We have to make sure we have to stay on brand.
Yes, yes. Blaze your trail.
Blaze your trail,
yes.
Yeah. And other catch lines that you need to remember and always say.
Absolutely. And now we know what PowerPlay is about. You guys have just put out the newsletter 72. It's finally stopped some of that rumour and speculation. We can see that it's all about that political intrigue and.
Well, we wanted to see the sort of kettle boiling over, just getting to that point, shaking, like the pot's shaking, and it's like it's about to spill over. But we're like, no, here you go, here it is, the big reveal. It's a delightful pasta dish. I'm sure that you could go on forever about that metaphor, but yeah, it's political intrigue. It's faction play. It's picking the powers and choosing those powers and choosing which side you want to work with, and it's pretty excellent stuff. It's very exciting from my point of view, from somebody who doesn't touch a line of code at all. Watching these guys over the last few months create this stuff, it's just been like, wow, like seeing the design documents and just being like, I can't tell anybody about this, and I never would, but like some of the stuff has just been really cool. Like I say, it's so great to finally tell people and see the excitement. I mean, I've been doing a couple of streams here today, but like from what I've seen, people are just like, this is exactly what I wanted. I didn't realise this is what I wanted, but this is exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, I mean, there's been so much like rumour and speculation about what it was going to be, and you know, everyone was kind of
watching that as well. Go on. No,
it's fine. No, everyone's excited about it. This is the thing, isn't it? And you know, to finally see we've got some of the screenshots in the newsletter is great. So we've got the picture of Senator Patrius in there, you know, it's the little things about that jump out to me. It's the things like the fact we've got that human character in the screen for the first time, which I'm hoping it's really going to help people feel more connected to the story and everything like that. So that's really, really nice to see.
Well, I've already seen people making those sorts of comments. So already saying stuff like, oh, it's amazing what just having a face in the game can suddenly do to make it feel, to make it feel more alive.
Absolutely.
And I know exactly along those lines. It was really cool to see people saying that, and I do think it'll make people. So all these names that you've heard so much, Senator Petraeus, like now immediately you've got an
image of them in your head,
your head that you will associate it with, and that brings more life to that when you're reading through it. Like, I know what that guy looks like, so I can imagine what his friends look like. I can imagine why, you know, all the people who follow him will look very similar and wear similar clothes and maybe even model themselves after him.
Excellent. It sounds really intriguing. I can't wait to get back. I mean, you know, I've been off exploring, and now I just want to race back and I want to see what all this is about and get involved.
Here's something that's literally just popped into my head. I can't wait to see the first person who cosplays as Senator Petraeus.
Oh, I know. There's so many possibilities there, isn't there? It's great. I mean, even when I first saw those first little videos showing off the flight suits and things like that, I was thinking I would love proper cosplay as some of these characters. Now you're going to actually see you got some names to the faces to these names, and you're going to so many possibilities.
Hopefully it becomes a massive thing. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. LaveCon suddenly's got a bit more interesting one. I think
that's true. And it's already very interesting, of course.
Yes,
it's even more exciting now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, cosplay is something which is going down there. I'm thinking a lot of people might be changing their minds on what they might be doing there. It'd be very interesting.
Well, we'll see what as well, because obviously there are so many different characters.
Yeah.
As you know, there are 20 at least, so you're going to see. There's 20 different costumes there, guys.
Yeah.
So the challenge is out there right now.
And just like I was saying, there's so many subtle little things on the screen there. Obviously, the first screen we've got in the newsletter, we're talking about the various ethos of the characters and things like that, the things they like to do. Obviously, Senator Patrius is kind of warlike, so he's got a lot of combat-style missions and things to do. So this is kind of another layer on top of the community goals, really, isn't it? It's kind of...
I mean, that's a way of putting it, but it's more than that. It's more than just a layer on top of community goals. It's... So, like you were pointing out about the ethos of these people, and there's so much going on with PowerPlay alone. It's a layer on top of everything that you've got already. So it's not replacing community goals.
No,
it's not replacing if people don't. You don't have to even join up to a which we suggest. Obviously, you should because it gives you a lot of variety in gameplay. But if people are like, oh, I just like trading and stuff like that, that's what I like about this game, then you go ahead. You might start seeing things like change around you in the galaxy and stuff, and be like, hold on a minute, this was Federation space last time I checked here. Like, what's going on? And like you'll start seeing like patrols of a different type going through that area. But it's so huge. There's so many different elements to what's in play in PowerPlay. There's like you have there's like different phases you have to prepare to take over a system, and at the same time you have to make sure that you are fortifying systems. At the same time, you to make sure that they aren't undermined by the opposition, because there's fortifying and opposition targets that people will have, and there are targets to whether the preparation is successful or not. And if the preparation is if you prepared enough, that will be added into a top 10 that people will then vote on as to whichever the power goes for. Now the power, and I'm explaining this so much better than I did yesterday on Barra's show. I was like, but the power depends how many they can actually. So if the top 10 are prepared, and then it'll say, okay, here's the 4 that are actually going to be attempted to take over.
Oh, excellent!
These 4, because that particular power only has a certain number of CC, which are, I always forget the name, command capital.
Yes.
So command capital will, and that's what, again, these sorts of things are subject to change, so you've got to realise that.
Of course,
but as well, a lot of this might have been answered in the AMA that happened earlier today, after one this has gone out. So Friday, David Raven's probably answered a lot of these questions on there. But it's that command capital. It's really, really interesting because it will go up and down depending on how many systems that person has in power. So like you'll have more influence. CC. Yeah, it's like influence. Yeah, influence points essentially. So depending on how many systems that person has under their influence, under their control, will depend on how much CC they've got, and that will determine how many systems that particular power can then attempt to take over. And once that's been decided, and by the way, that's decided by votes, so it'll move to the top depending on votes, and how many votes you've got depends on how much you've actually done to help out that power earlier on in that week, you see? So
it's all
up and down, and once that's been decided, so okay, these are the top 4, these are the top 10, here's the top 4 that were voted upon. Now you then get a target set to see whether that was successful or not, actually taking over that prepared system. If you fail, obviously there's always a counter target as well. So like the opposition who already own it perhaps, or they're also going for it, can actually do an opposing thing against you. Sorry, I'm rambling.
No, that's fine. No, I'm taking this all in. I'm really intrigued. I mean, my first impression when I saw that character portrait of Senator Patrius there was, I just kind of thought, oh, that kind of reminds me of the sort of characters you see in Civilization. And now what you're saying is the explanation. It really does make it feel like there's that whole layer going underneath. It is that kind of the big, different government bodies fighting and warring over things. I'm really intrigued to see how this plays out.
Well, those board games of old. Certainly, I'm a big board game fan myself, so that's why I find myself being very excited by this. Is that I can this is a board game I can play on my own, but also play with friends. And it's a board game aspect. That doesn't mean it's going to be. I mean, if you said to me about board games are boring, then you don't deserve to be my friend, because they're some of my favorite stuff ever. But that aspect of it is very much like, I think Risk is an easy comparison to make without putting that down in writing. That's probably real board games, but it's Risk in space. It's crazy.
It is. I could see that whole kind of people warring and fighting for different regions of space and wanting to I can imagine lots of old school players would want to own that region around Lave, so they pledge allegiance to someone who wants to own that area and take over systems there. And I think that's the key point that you said right at the start, is that it's entirely optional. It's really cool that all this gameplay's in there, but you can still make that choice about whether or not you want to get involved. And you're going to see the effects of what's going on, but if you want to get in there and actually change it and be part of that impact, and that's great. I love that.
And you will see in real time the effects that you have. But of course, Rome wasn't built in a day. It takes a long time for these systems to be overpowered. It's not as if you can destroy a power in a week. Like that's. I mean, I want to see. Maybe you can. Like maybe the community can. But from what I've seen, it would certainly take some doing. That doesn't mean it couldn't be done. But from what I've seen, like, so there's like control there's control systems like in it. So there's a sphere of influence around a control system, and all those mini little systems inside that will give you a certain number of CC depending on, well, you'll get bonuses and stuff as well. Like if you fortify those systems, you'll get more CC. If those systems have been undermined, it'll go down to 0, so you'll actually make nothing from it. You see, so it's all about reducing that the amount of CC that you're opposing powers, of course, your enemy powers, the powers that you're against. It's about reducing, so it's undermining all their systems. If you want to spend your time undermining all their systems, you can, and that will reduce the CC income that they'll get.
Excellent.
If you see what I mean. And if their CC income is too low to support the one second to support those systems, then those systems will go into turmoil. And if they're left in turmoil for too long, they will then become neutral, and other people will be able to take them over.
Excellent, excellent. So I think what I said earlier on was wrong. I think, in fact, it's more like it's a layer underneath everything in the game, really, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah, it's both more than that and also just a base establishment. Because, of course, we've still got the core gameplay elements, which are so important to what makes Elite Dangerous so special.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
This just adds a whole new way of... it's easy to talk passionately about, and I feel I bumbled through some of my explanation of it yesterday when I was doing a stream with somebody else, a little bit, and I feel like I've explained it better now. So this is I'm gonna link people to this stream, be like, I do a better explanation on this stream. No, I'm sure it's fine. Yeah.
No, it sounds really, really fascinating. Can't wait to get my hands on and get involved with this. And like I said, it's just this kind of, it gives purpose to a lot of the things that were already there, doesn't it? It's like before we were kind of doing things because we wanted to do them ourselves. Now it's like we can contribute to something bigger and really get involved with it, and it helps kind of make it a more meaningful interaction in the game. So that's what I love about that. It sounds awesome, absolutely amazing. So, I mean, PowerPlay is obviously the big thing for this update. This is what everyone's talking about. It's what on everyone's lips when they're talking about 1.3. But of course, there are a bunch of other things going in as well. I imagine there's a whole bunch of improvements and fixes and things, but also there's loads of new content coming in. Is there anything in particular that you're really excited about coming in besides the PowerPlay things?
That's such a loaded
big sweeping question. Okay.
What if I say everything?
Everything. Yeah, that's fine.
I can say that I've seen some stuff walking around. I'm privileged to see some stuff walking around, and I can say that it's all very, very exciting, all amazing, like mind-blowing. There's one particular thing that I'm very excited for that is going to yet again change the way the game's played. So things that I'm.
You can't say. I understand.
No, I can't. I mean, I can't because one, I would lose my job, but two, I can't even speak authoritatively on the subject yet because those things aren't
still in flux.
That's right. Yeah. As is PowerPlay. Some of these things that I've said may change.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mentioned on the stream yesterday a little bit that there is, I think there's going to be beta, but basically that could actually change the functionality of the game because of the type of...
You get feedback, don't you? So it might...
But with this, it might be in a huge way. Like, we don't know how it's going to work in some ways.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It might some of the stuff just might not work. So they might be like, or work in a completely different way to how we expected based on when people get their hands on this stuff. But I think everyone seems really positive about this. It's really great to see people be so happy. I'm excited for the not the number crunching because I don't really like number crunching as such, but seeing what happens, and stop me if I start repeating myself. Seeing what happens when people get hold of this, and just seeing who people are going to be supporting, and if what they do and their behavior changes, whether people follow them or not, or whether people are just like, I don't care, this guy's got more money, I'm going to join him. I really can't wait to see how that.
Yeah, I mean that kind of goes back to some of the early things that David said about like the progenitor cell thing, wasn't it? Seeing how people decide which side to take and how they're going to react to it. And this is something I've said all along that I really, really love. And people ask me, it's like, oh, don't you want this to go this way or that to go that way? And it's like, I don't care which way it goes. I just like to watch and see it happen. It's just the change, the galaxy evolving. Because that was always something I would have loved to have seen in the earlier games. Like, as much as I loved them, the universe did end up feeling static after a while. And seeing these kind of features coming in, it's really, really exciting to me because I like to see it change and evolve.
Well, yeah, I mean, those games were limited by, of course, technology.
Oh, the hardware, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And
but it gave you that that in your mind, didn't it? The imagination that it could be changing and evolving. Yeah. But of course, it wasn't possible back in the day. Now it is, and that's what I'm really, really keen to see happening. It's awesome.
Yeah. I know that so many people are excited within FD as well, like about this. Like everybody, when I had my finger over the newsletter go button, people were messaging me on the internal messaging system, just like saying things like, is it gone yet? Is it gone yet? Is it gone yet? Things like that. And it's just like, I'm sorry, like we're just importing some new people to receive the newsletter at the moment. We're actually, so we can't can't press send just yet and stuff like that. So hey, it was it's been an exciting day, and then seeing people react to it really positively. And like I know that people like David, of course, this is very dear to him because he cares about the story aspects of things, and this is really going to bring that to life. So really explore that side of things here.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to get involved in it and start helping out with some of these things. It really does intrigue me. But I suppose we should go over some of the other bullet points. I mean, obviously, 1.2 was a huge hit, and I think 1.3 is set to go the same way. Looking at it, it's just bringing so much more to the table. But of course, some of the things that a lot of people are talking about, the drones, people are really keen to see how they're going to change a lot of the gameplay mechanics in there. Obviously, mining
it's going to improve the mining aspects of things, and there are changes in there, kind of how we do low conflict zone, high conflict and low conflict zones, or the RSS, the USS, yes, low and high intensity and things like that. So you'll see similar things with the resource extraction sites. Hopefully that will that'll improve the mining experience for a lot of people. And also, if you're seeing like lots of pirates swarming around you and things, you can join a wing. So you could have like a wing of people protecting you while you're mining. And of course, they're introducing 2 new elements in there as well, which you'll probably only be able to find in the high intensity ones. And it works because the reason why they're so intense and so
that's where the good stuff is.
That's where the good stuff is. So people go there. The pirates know that people are going there. They're not going to bother mining themselves. They'll just pick it up from you. They'll just force you to open your cargo hatches and steal your stuff. So you can have a wing protecting you from those guys, and that creates some interesting gameplay. All the while, the galaxy is now changing behind you. And that's the thing I was saying about, so you might have been like, okay, I need to go and undermine this over here to reduce the level of CC, but I can't see you doing that, to be honest, Kerrash. I feel like you're going to be doing the stuff that supports positive growth for positive power. I know but that's so interesting because that's your character and that's what you'll do. And you'll be supporting somebody who, I don't know, favors trade and favors mining and things like that. So to do things in peaceful ways. But all the while that's happening, you see that someone is coming in and undermining your area. You need to go and take those guys out to make sure that they stay out of your controlled power zone. All the while, you need to be preparing to expand. All the while, you need to be making sure that you're fortifying areas rather than stopping undermining. And then, of course, there's the there's the middle one where it's like the target is created if a place is prepared that I was telling you about earlier with the CC levels and the votes. That creates a target and then a counter target as well for the opposition. So there's like 3 major things that are going to be happening all at the same time across the galaxy for 20 different powers.
It's just like crazy.
With 500,000 players. It's just stunning. Like it's very exciting.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. And like you said, it's really kind of bringing an underlying fabric to the storyline, that these things can be built on top of these experiences that you can have in it. And I really can't wait to do it. So it's exciting. And like you said, 500,000 people. That's insane. Congratulations on that. That is awesome.
I suddenly find myself hoping that that's public information.
I believe it is. I believe it is.
I'll believe it is too. No, it's great. Of course. I mean, if you put it that way, 500,000. I mean, God, like
it's crazy.
When I started here 6 months ago, it was like 100,000, and it's just boomed.
Yeah.
And I hope it reaches a sort of tipping point as well, where it goes whoa, and then all of a sudden even more people are coming in.
Yeah.
I think adding things like PowerPlay and adding things like wings and obviously we're coming to Xbox in 2015.
Yes.
But it's great. It's great for those people who choose to do console gaming.
That's what I mean. I
love console gaming or not. It's going to be great. It's going to bring so many new people to the audience.
And that's what I think is great about it. It's getting it out to as many people. I mean, I've always advocated from the very beginning that I wanted as many people as possible to be able to experience the game, and I think that's just brilliant that it's coming on as many platforms as you guys can get it on. And I know there's a lot of to and fro, and some people say things shouldn't go on consoles and stuff, and it's like, well, look at the original. I'm sat here. I've got it on NES. I've got it on practically or on every console sort of thing. And so why not do it now? now with the new game.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
BBC Micro.
Yes. Excellent. But no, it is absolutely brilliant to see that, and I think it's things like PowerPlay really show how that broader audience of the game is going to be kind of dealt with. They're going to give something for everyone, even if you are on a different console and you're not directly interacting with someone. Obviously there's technical limitations to that, but the fact that you can contribute to the overall goal and kind of have an influence on the galaxy, I think that's awesome. That everyone is involved with this.
Have a visual impact that you can, what's it called, a tactile sort
feedback,
of influence on that. You can see, and you'll be able to see it and be like, okay, so I contributed to this planet and stuff like that, and it's going to be, again, I just want to reiterate something slightly small, that it's subject to change. So don't completely quote me on all of these things. But that said, I'm now on the video in sort of forever immortalized in Kerrash's video saying these things. But no, it's great. It's so great.
No, it is really good, and it's starting to cement in my mind now. A lot of these bullet points have been leaked.
Did I help with my explanations of how things are going to work?
Yes, definitely, absolutely. Yeah, it's sometimes when you're reading the text, you're like, it's a bit kind of like, whoa, mind just blown with all this stuff,
So, I mean, I can sort of Mike. You've met Mike, our PR guy. Like he wrote this up, and you could see that he was just sitting there like, I'm not sure this makes sense, because it's so much information, but he's done it a great job. It's like a really nice article, like, because he comes from a journalism background, so so it's a really nice little article. Also, we wanted to make sure that you guys got it in a newsletter format, because we chose to do that rather than giving it to the press. We wanted to be like, okay, this one's a massive one. What we're going to do is, the press wants to pick it up, they want to pick it up, but we're going to give you the exclusive scoop on that. Like, we want the community to hear first. So
that's excellent.
Means a lot to us.
I think that's brilliant. No, I mean, I like I said, I read it, and it was kind of am I reading this right? And it was more like, it was great to see that suddenly the chat channels were abuzz, the forums was firing up, everyone was asking these questions. It's like, did I really read that right? Is it going to be like this? It's like, wow, that's so cool, And it was great to see everyone suddenly just start talking about it again, everything going nuts. Everyone's really, really keen, and that's brilliant. So I think just talking it through with someone, it's nice to do it, because it's like, oh yeah, that is really cool, isn't it? I really like that.
You are dead right. And people on Reddit as well, and our forums have just been, and on Twitter, being like, yeah, right, this looks really cool. You're like, yeah, it does. It's so awesome. And people, and I think I said this already to you, but I wasn't sure that that's exactly what I wanted, but now I know that I wanted that forever. Like, I've always wanted that.
Yeah.
It's cool. I'm really excited to see how these things unfold.
Yeah.
And it's been such a pleasure today. Like, I've had such a good time talking to people about it and seeing the forums light up and showing just the picture of I say Petraeus, you say Patrius. Did you say?
Oh, sorry, I'm terrible.
No, I don't know. I'm not the voice of the... I'd have to ask David that. David's the only one who knows the actual pronunciation. So maybe somebody in the AMA yesterday asked. Maybe I'll ask. I'm going to go on and be like, David, how do you pronounce Petraeus?
Well, there's some long-standing arguments for that, about even how to pronounce Lave. I mean, I don't know. It's crazy. But anyway, I think we better let you go. I know you are incredibly busy. And just thank you again so much for doing this little piece with us. And I'm really intrigued to find out more. And obviously,
I hope that the viewers have maybe got a better idea. I think that they'll have seen in the AMA anyway, but it's always nice to come on and talk passionately about it, because I really do feel that way. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to, community@frontier.co.uk or elewis@frontier.co.uk. I'm on there, and I'm always trying to answer things on the Twitter and trying to answer things on the Facebook messages. So it's cool. Yeah, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you, John. Like, I do this anytime. I think we should do it more.
Oh, absolutely, definitely.
I think I do some things to plug. I'm trying to think of some events that are coming up that we can discuss. But hey, it doesn't matter, does it? I'll remember them after the stream and go, I forgot about that thing I was supposed to tell everybody about.
No worries. Exciting times ahead. I think this is going to be a really fun year, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again, Ed. Thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you very much. And thank you to the community as well for being such good sports and listening and keeping and sticking with us. It's absolutely amazing to see the support that we're getting for this.
Feelings mutual. Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
all right. See you in the void, Commander.
Bye.